attention. You've got to be able to hear, to be heard. You've got to be able to capture attention. And there's a couple things that you can do practically to go ahead and get that done. All right, so it looks like YouTube is almost up. To be able to hear, to be heard. You've got. All right, so I'm going to put the computer on mute so that I think you can still hear me, but we don't get that feedback. And let me go ahead and get my my little notes right here. Okay. So my name again is Pink-Lewin. I am a messaging strategist. I am a monetization strategist. I'm a communication strategist. I have been helping professionals and entrepreneurs to develop a winning brand, a results-oriented brand, one that results in them getting promoted on their job or securing clients for their business. My focus is to help you bring in buyers. Okay. I'm not about that vanity metrics. Let's boost up your social media with all these likes. That has a place, but at the end of the day, especially as it relates to women-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs, we shy away from this money conversation. Not only do we shy away from this money conversation, but we are wrongly steered in the direction of let's charge our worth. That is for the birds, okay? When we talk about we're starting a business, I need y'all to really dig your heels in and say, I'm going to actually be a business. I'm going to dig my heels in and utilize business principles, foundational principles in business in order to price my product, not as some willy-nilly number about my value or my perceived value in my eyes. That is for the birds. I have this segment called Slaying Soundbites, and I take that soundbite down, okay? I cut that thing up because in business, that will leave you broke. It'll leave you broke and your self-esteem will be jacked up because you're thinking nobody wants to pay you your worth. When the reality is no one can ever pay you your worth. That's what I believe, but that's a fact. No one can ever write a check big enough to cover your value. But what you can do is ensure that the products and services that you are actually creating and selling to people are valuable to them. And they are paying for the value of your product. It ain't got nothing to do with your perceived value. It's nothing to do with how much you think you are worth, but it's all to do with what your actual product is worth. And the market will tell you every time. So that is one of my little soapboxes. And I have plenty because people are out here in these streets saying all kind of crazy stuff, getting people to buy into this language. And then again, I'm a messaging strategist. Now you all sound the same. Everybody is leveling up. Everybody is helping people to crush it in business. Everybody is, helping people to do all these things. But what the heck does that even mean, right? What the heck does that even mean? Nobody knows. That's why your buyers can't hear you in the market because you sound like everybody else and everybody is drowning everybody else out. Okay. You won't hear me say a lot of the things that's being said in the marketplace. There's a time and a place to reverberate with what's happening in the marketplace, what's being said, but there's definitely the majority of the time is where you stand out. And even that is cliche at this point, but you need to make sure that your people in the marketplace know who you are, know how you are different in the marketplace from the other people who are doing exactly what you are doing. And there's some really specific information that you got to go. I have some clients that are, amazing individuals. When I say amazing, I truly mean it. I know you hear the word amazing linked to other things, and people just kind of love to say the word amazing. It's become like willy-nilly at this point. The same thing with like genius. Everybody's a genius, right? I believe everyone is a genius, but golly, we've watered down the meaning of genius. But I've worked with some really powerful women, and the problem that they're doing, why no one is attracted to them in the marketplace, is because their messaging is off. Your messaging is off. Nobody knows what you're talking about. And even though you sound like everybody else and you think people know what you mean, they don't. They don't know what you mean. And one of the things that that just irks me the most is when you hear people who are online, and either whether they're a strategist for your messaging or a brand strategist, or they're trying to quote unquote help you get your business going, whatever that means, they're trying to help you quote unquote level up, whatever that means, because half of them don't even know what level you're on. So I don't know how they're going to even take you to the next level where they have no clue where you are, but they're selling these products to you, and we're all buying this. We're buying it. Well, that used to be me. That's not me anymore. And what I realize is people are so over a lot of this generic languaging and messaging in the marketplace. But at the end of the day, there's a way for you to garner yourself, not just attention, not just a little bit of sales here and there, but you want to really be able to serve and earn the money in the marketplace, be able to get eyes and attention on you that will eventually become customers, buying paid customers, and then gain the loyalty over time. That's how you do. And you know what? The only way is you're going to do that is to actually make sure people know what the heck you're talking about. So anyway, that being said, I'm here to talk a little bit about why your buyers can't hear you in the marketplace and what you need to do about that. I am also here. Let me just go ahead and get some housekeeping out of the way. I'm excited because on November 11th, I will be having my Master Your Message Masterclass. My Master Your Message Masterclass. This is always a good, oldie, but a goodie. When I say oldie, listen, the way that you message in the marketplace, it is built upon solid communication strategies, okay? Communication. Listen, when relationships don't work, it's because they fail because of communication. When you are jacked up in your friendships, it's likely that y'all there's a misunderstanding and nobody knows how to tone it down and listen to the other person. When you're talking about communication, you talk about communication in business, it is not all about what you want to say. It's less about what you want to say and more about what the other person needs to hear. And the other person in this scenario, as a business owner, that is the potential buyer. That is the person who needs what you have to offer. And if you keep talking about what it is that you are doing and why it's so amazing, and you never focus on what they really need and frame it in a way that makes sense to them, you will never bring buyers into your business. And I'm not speaking that on you. I'm just literally saying they will move on to the next because they are not clear what they're given. I had a conversation with a client what's this? Today's Monday. So I had a conversation. No, today's Tuesday. So I had a conversation with her on Friday. And she was super excited about launching a challenge, very excited about what she's doing. And let me tell you, I'm excited for her because it's been a long road to where she is right now. But one of the things I was able to clearly just highlight and say, hey, roll it back a little bit, because you're launching this challenge and I think it's great. She is phenomenal at what she is doing. She's been doing it for a long time. She does it like, she can do the services she provides. She can do it like clockwork. The problem is because she's so close, she didn't realize that it wasn't built to speak to the person who she was intending to speak to. Now, maybe somebody else, maybe if the ideal person for that challenge was a little bit more established or whatever the case may be, then her product might have been fine. But when she told me who the challenge was for, and I'm like, I don't really see that. I don't see that in your messaging. How do they know what they're going to get? What is this challenge supposed to do? What are you challenging them to do? I mean, it was some very basic things that in her mind she was covering because she knows what she's teaching. But on the other side of the person who's actually reading it to decide, do I want to get into this paid challenge or not, right? It's not a free challenge. It's a paid challenge. So they had no clue what they were getting. There was just some clear information that was missing from her marketing language, from her messaging, that would let someone know, yeah, this is the product for me. This is the service for me. This is the challenge that I want to do in order to do X, Y, and Z. It is so, I cannot tell you how common it is for people in their own mind, right? Because I'm a communication strategist and I've been doing this for 18 plus years. At the end of the day, it's great. I know how to think from both sides of the coin. There's always both sides of the coin. And, one of the things, did I ever say this? One of the things that I absolutely hate is, I can't believe I just did that. I'm here on YouTube and I'm over here like just, itching my underarm. It's just crazy. Those of you on Clubhouse and Wisdom couldn't see it, but I just announced it. But hey, it doesn't really matter because, hey, they saw me on YouTube. It is what it is. It's after midnight. And this is one of those scopes where it'll just be, a little bit of a chill scope, but or a chill live stream. As you can tell, I grew up on Periscope. Periscope is no longer a thing. But I still reference my live streams as scopes. Anyway, so where was I? Give me a second. I was basically saying that you want to be able to dial in your communication and your messaging so that your target audience, that's what it was. Got it. So one of the things that really irks me is when folks are online and they're like, know your audience, know your audience, know your audience. Now, listen, that is excellent advice. That is so true. And you need to know your audience. The problem with that is, if you're just new in business, and these are the thoughts that I had, so I know y'all are still having this if you just started your business. If I'm just starting my business, how am I supposed to know this target audience? These people say things like it's so simple and so basic, but when you're in the beginning stages, how do you know this thing? So I challenge everyone. So you stop sounding like everybody else and just tell the people what you want to say, right? But anyway, let me digress. Let me do this in an orderly fashion. Let me make sure I cover all of my information so that you know exactly what I am talking about when I'm saying your buyers can't hear you, and here's some things that you want to do. So anyway, that was the first thing about housekeeping. Let me go ahead and get that out the way. November 11th, I'm excited. I'm doing my Master Your Message Masterclass. Now that masterclass is $97. And if you're interested, go to 3mmasterclass.com and you will be taken directly to my Stripe, secured Stripe payment. Now, before you do that, just know that my Launch Out Loud 6-week beta is going live as well. During that masterclass, I will be also launching that beta. Now, I have been doing my Launch Out Loud program since 2016. I've had multiple cohorts of my Launch Out Loud. I'm excited about this because I get to work one-to-one or in a small group setting. And if you opt for the upgrade, one-on-one with you to develop your message, to really clarify who you're targeting online, to be able to craft that message and then relate it to a product or an offer so that you begin to bring in buyers. Now, that's the whole goal of the Launch Out Loud in the 6 weeks. I'm excited to be offering that during the masterclass. But right now, because you are here with me on my social media platforms, and for those of you that follow me, you've been listening to me for a while, and you may want to now take an opportunity to work with me. It is my pleasure to also launch that 6-week at the beta price, which is $97 as well. So if you're considering the masterclass, you may as well just go on ahead and get into the 6-week beta. Now, why did I price it this way? Is because I am actually, I conducted this boot camp, the 6 weeks experience. I've always done it on Zoom. I've always done it. I've never even used a Facebook group. I've always just done it on Zoom and email. And I am testing out a different software. Now, the program itself is rock solid. I've been doing this since 2016, but I'm not so certain about this software, which I'm going to be real transparent. I think the reason why I really chose this software is because my programs and my services are designed to ensure that my clients take action. I don't want you to take my courses. I don't want you to be in the things that I've created and designed and become my client and not get results. I want you to do the work. It is extremely important. I believe in the power of accountability. I believe when you have a support system, you can actually get the things that you've been meaning to get to, wanting to get to, all of those things. The software that I chose, it was marketed as it is designed to support implementation. That is my language. That is my heart for all of my clients. I don't want you to ever get into something that I created and you're like, I didn't get what I paid for. No such thing with a product and service that I create. I am not playing games in these internet streets, because I've had plenty of courses that just did not live up to the hype. And unfortunately, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in some cases. I remember the last coach that I went to, the marketing was amazing. I listened to her on social media. She was dope. And then I, dropped almost 2 Gs for, it's 2 Gs a month. And I started this thing and I'm like, wait a minute, for real. This is what I'm getting in the background. There's a problem with that. There's a problem out there, but trust and believe the things that I create, y'all are going to get, y'all going to do work, and you're going to get what I said you're going to get. We're not playing. I'm not playing. This is how I created my programs. So testing out this software, we just going to be in this thing together. And as a result of just knowing that, I priced it at $97, which is the same as the masterclass. So at the masterclass, I will be offering the 6-week program. It will not be $97 during the masterclass. Now, if you do get into the Launch Out Loud beta now for $97, or you do the upgrade where we do one-to-one sessions bi-weekly during the 6 weeks, that's $297, you get a free ticket to the masterclass, okay? So you will get that information where you can get it accelerated so you know what you're in for. But the meat and potatoes is about the implementation and getting stuff done. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time here because it's already after 12:30 on the East Coast where I am. I should be getting my little Z's because I got to get up early and wake up the kiddos. But I did want to put that out there. At the end of the broadcast, I will repeat it for those of you who are in the room, and for those of you who are listening on the replay. Again, it is you can go to 3M Masterclass if you're interested in just the masterclass. However, I've made this offer in such a way that it is a no-brainer for you all to take me up, especially if you've been listening to me for a while and you want to be able to work with me. $97 for 6 weeks in this beta. It is priceless. Okay. The upgrade is $297, where we will have one-on-one 90-minute sessions every 2 weeks during the course of this beta, the 6 weeks. And what that does is it gets my eyeballs on what you are creating. It gets my eyeballs on your message, your brand, and the offer that you are aligned to. Now, why am I doing it at this time? Because I want to get you in place and in position to have what you need during the last quarter to make some money during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all the way through the new year into the new year. It is the time where a lot of money is exchanged, a lot of commerce is exchanged. You need to have whatever you need, whatever you're trying to get in place, definitely by the new year. But there's some low-hanging fruit that you can have ready to go for Black Friday. Yeah, it is a little bit late, but listen, after that masterclass, you're going to dive in. We're going to get your offer, low-hanging fruit offer. So you can start testing your message in the marketplace, see what people want to buy, see what they are interested in, see what they gravitate towards, refine that so that you can raise the price and have it ready for January when the rest of the world is like, hey, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Whatever your product and the service is right there ready for all of those New Year resolutioners to be like, hey, this is your resolution. Here's my solution for that. Here's how I'm going to get you to support you in making this goal happen. That's how you position yourself in the marketplace. You're ready to go. You've done the work. And that's what this beta is all about. That's what my Launch Out Loud course is all about. And it's not launch out loud, be like, just overly obnoxious in the marketplace. When I say launch out loud, I'm talking about get your message right so that your target audience can actually hear you through all the noise online. So you can cut through that, stand out as the obvious choice. And when people gravitate towards you, then you are bringing in actual buyers for the products and services because your language and your messaging is pulling them in. That is what that is about. So with that said, 3mmasterclass.com is if you just want to do the masterclass. I encourage you to take that $97 though and join the Launch Out Loud beta, or upgrade to 290 at 297, and we will sit one-on-one and get your messaging straight, get your strategy straight, get your offer ready, and you can start monetizing over the last few months of 2022 and into 2023. You want to use the link bit.ly/LOL beta 22, bit.ly/LOL beta 22, LOL beta 22, all lowercase. So go ahead there. These are all taking you to, so for the Launch Out Loud beta, you'll just get to the resources page on my website, and you can go ahead and select either. All of them will go to a paid, safe Stripe link. And then the masterclass goes directly to the Stripe link. Okay. So now that that is out the way, let's get into this content. Let's get into, I wish they would stop pinging me on Clubhouse. Get into this content. Okay, here we go. So listen, your buyers are not hearing you mainly because you sound like everybody else. Not because you don't know what you're talking about, not because you don't know what you're doing, not because you aren't just the right choice. It's because they cannot hear you in all of the noise. I use the example of Times Square during New Year's Eve. Now, I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn. And in Times Square during New Year's Eve, millions of people, now, yeah, we're talking about pre-COVID, but millions of people flock to Times Square. It's busy, it's loud, it's the place where people are just happy, they're go-lucky, it's loud. I mean, everybody is just having the best life that they're having, waiting for this ball to drop. Now, imagine yourself standing on the corner of Times Square. It's real loud. Now, where I'm from in New York, you know, it's nothing for you to see people like on the street, like, hey, I got a CD. Yeah, I got this, I got that. Now, imagine standing there and you're trying to get attention for what you have. Say you have a CD, a jazz CD, you're an artist, and you have your CDs, you want to go ahead and now it's millions of people that you will potentially confront in Times Square. Even if you had a bullhorn screaming at the top of your lungs, you may not find the right person in the sea of millions of people who came. Why? Because when they came to Times Square, they came to see a ball drop. Not many of them came to be solicited to purchase a CD. Liken that to when people are logged in online. Not only did they log in online for some reason, we don't know what the reason is. Everybody has different reasons why they log in online, but they're also inundated by many, many, many ads. Some people have a larger budget than you. Some people just have a better creative department than you. Some people have been doing this thing for the longest. But whatever the case may be, you may not be seen, you may not be heard, you may not get any attention. Now, even if I put the bullhorn in your hand and you're standing there in the corner and you're screaming, the right person still may not hear you. Now, again, Times Square, this is now, I'm going to date myself because there's, I mean, it may still be there. I don't know. I live in Atlanta now, but, and I don't go home very often. Certainly don't go to Times Square for no ball drop, but there used to be a Virgin Megastore that was like right next to where the ball drops in Times Square. I mean, it took up almost half the block. It was huge. Imagine if you began to just leave the corner where potentially millions of people walking by are there. So it's counterintuitive. You leave the place where there's a ton of people and you go into the place where you're trying to sell a CD. Hey, people who are in the Virgin Megastore, they're there for music or some form of entertainment. Now you've positioned yourself in a place where people are actually looking for what you have. They want what you have, potentially. Right? Like I told you, you may be a jazz artist, but now you're at least in a place where people have an interest in music. So now you're like, okay, I'm in jazz, I'm in the Virgin Megastore, I have these CDs. Now chances are I'm getting warm. Remember that game Cold or Hot? I'm a little bit warm. right? Because now I'm taking myself off the sidewalk, even with this bullhorn, and I came into the Virgin Megastore. What would be better than just standing in the Virgin Megastore? What would be better is that you not only are in this music store, but you actually go to the jazz music, the jazz aisle. Now we're cooking. So you just kind of place yourself there. And as people and passersby come, now they're flicking through these CDs and DVDs and entertainment type pieces, maybe even the record players in the jazz aisle. So there is now a more targeted audience that you have the potential to talk to. So whereas when you're standing in the out there on the sidewalk and you say, hey, I got a jazz CD, do you like jazz? You may hear, no, do you like music? Yeah, I like music. But once you say jazz, then it's like, I'm not really a jazz fan, or my favorite is hip hop, my favorite is country, my favorite is bluegrass, gospel, whatever it is. Or I don't even like music, I don't have time for it, or whatever the case may be. That's what you might get on the sidewalk. But now that you're in Virgin Megastore, you may get people who like music, who's open to different music. But when you're standing in the jazz aisle, now you're a little bit more hot. And now you're talking to people who like jazz music. Now it may that you may not have a CD, like it's your personal CD, and their favorite artist may be whomever, but at least they're in the genre, right? Now you're talking to people who can appreciate jazz, and then you can now speak their language to say, hey, I'm an up and coming jazz artist. My music is kind of like, and start dropping artists that your music is similar to. Now they get it because they're a jazz fan. They're like, oh, now they're a little bit more interested. They're a little bit warmer of a lead. Now you're not just kind of just randomly talking on the internet, but you have strategically positioned yourself in a way that you can speak to someone that is really interested in your offer and that's ready to buy. Because where are you finding them? You found them in the Virgin Megastore, in flicking through the jazz CDs, but they're ready to buy. They came in there to buy something. They're looking for something. They're perusing. If they see something, they'll pick it up and go. It might be what you want to offer. Even if you don't get the sale of a CD, now you've gotten your message out there. Now you've gotten the opportunity to create some form of a relationship with that person. You can give them a flyer. You can give them a business card. You can give them a link, a QR code, so that they can scan and hear a sample of your stuff. It doesn't matter. Now you have a face and they know who you are. They've talked to you and, you can connect on that level. Does this make sense? This is why your buyers aren't hearing you, because many times we think because we're on the internet, we want to be where millions of people can find us, and we want to be where the people are. So we just kind of gravitate to where all the folks are sitting on the internet. We don't have a strategy that puts us into the place where the best customer for what we have to offer is. We don't increase our chances of getting to that. Now, again, I say, if you're just new in business, how do you know this? Where do you go? Now, the internet, as beautiful as it is, it's really, really big and it's really, really saturated now. But the beautiful thing is there are breadcrumbs everywhere. It's 2022. People say everything online. People they dish all the tea. They don't hold nothing back. I mean, they're telling you about everything. You could read about everything all over. You just got to know where to look. Nothing's really a secret online. You can find stuff. It puzzles me how these titles about 10 secrets for this and uncover the hidden of that. Those are headlines that really, really work, because people, for whatever reason, still believe that there's some kind of a secret out there. Let me tell you the secret. The secret is that there's no secret, right? You could find the information online. The problem is you don't know where to look. And if you do know where to look, you don't know what to trust, because you're not the expert. You're not the person who has that knowledge. You're not the person who have the expertise in that. You don't have the experience in it. So you don't know. You lack the confidence to actually move on what you see. That's just the real deal. I'm just keeping it real with you. That's why we don't do, and that's why you need people like myself who've been doing this for a long time to be able to kind of point you in the right direction. Why? Because you stand the chance of going around the mountain 40 years when, you don't got to do that. That's not even necessary, right? Because you just kind of spend time with somebody who knows what they're doing, and boom, you got it. They have accelerated you. They have strategically gifted you, whether it's months, years, or even decades of information. That's how you need to look at some of this stuff, okay? But anyway, so now I painted that picture. Let's go into one, you need to be in the right place at the right time. I say, one of the things I say online is I help my clients create a message and a foundation in their business so they can get heard, they can get seen, they can get the attention that they need. But at the end of the day, your goal is to get the right message to the right person at the right time so you secure the right results for both you and that person. So for that person, they get their needs met. For you, you get a sale. You may get an email address. You may get a number. Some sort of currency is exchanged so that you can establish a relationship and move on. Now, the reason why it's extremely critical is I need you to be able to access your clients when you need to, your potential wide market. But I also need you to not just have a wide audience that you're talking to, but I need you to be so diligent and so intentional and so focused on dwindling down that audience into actual buyers for your product. Buyers for your product, and your messaging is how you do that. One of the things I love about being a messaging strategist is I started out as a web and graphic designer. I started out in 2003 building websites. I started out with MySpace pages, Black Planet pages, Facebook pages. I started out with building on I'm gonna date myself, Netscape Navigator, like literally coding websites. And I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, many of them who their business never saw the light of day. And the reason why is because they did not stop. They ran on their passion. They ran on what they thought was a good idea. And they thought that the fact that they think it's a good idea, which is enough. I cannot tell you how painful it is to develop a website for someone who cannot tell you why they're in business and why they're different and why somebody should choose them. But I will tell you about 90% of my people could not tell me. And they couldn't tell me with any certainty. And what they ended up doing was just saying, hey, here's somebody who does what I do. Here's a website for somebody that does what I do. Just kind of copy that. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, pump your brakes. I'm not doing that. Number one, this is my portfolio at risk. Number two, that's my business at risk. Number three, that lacks integrity. So I'm not going to do it. So I cannot tell you how many times I had to sit and really just kind of like, I'm going to use the word force. And I'll use it very loosely because it's not like I can force any grown person to do it, but it felt like I was forcing them to do the work that they needed to do in their business so that they have a good foundation. After a while, I just said, you know what, forget that. Clearly, they need this information. Clearly, what I'm sensing is another income stream for my company. So instead of just websites and graphics, now I added copywriting. And I would sit with people, I would interview them for about an hour and a half. I would get the information and then I would write their content for them and I would create that. And it just became another way that I could up my service. This is how you tell when the market needs something, like they don't have what they need. It was so painful for me. It wasn't even my audience's pain. It was my pain. And my pain pushed me into writing the messaging. Now, the funny thing is, that's how I literally just kind of dug my heels in on the messaging strategist, because in my 9-to-5, I was also a vocational counselor, which is the grandparent to career coaches that you call them today. But as a vocational counselor, my job was to get real creative and helping people get their resume together. And my folks had been out of the work for 20 years, some of them unemployed or underemployed. And my folks was getting jobs back in New York with the New York State Department of Labor. I was getting my people work. Their resumes stood out. Okay. We was getting that. And I was excited because I was able to highlight their strengths in such a way. This is how I got into the brand strategy, because I was able to help people highlight the best of their experience and their passion and their purpose and all these things in a way, and package it so that people really say, hey, I need to work with you because of X, Y, and Z. Couple that with what I was doing with business owners, and it was a win-win. And that's how I found my niche in my business. Love messaging. And the other piece of that is, what do you have a message to do if you're not going to monetize it? This is where I realized that people don't know how to talk about themselves, and they sure enough don't know how to sell. They sure enough don't know how to ask for the money. They don't know how to ask for the sale. So here's why I actually leaned into the money conversation and blended the messaging with the monetization. So I gave you a little bit of an idea as to how I walked down that path to know why I'm here right now and why I'm so, right, that means so much to me, because I do want to see people win. But at the end of the day, I saw how painful it was for them. And it became very easy to me. So it was a perfect place. And this is why I know what I know to be true. Your buyers can't hear you because you sound like everybody else. You look like everybody else. You didn't take the work, didn't take the time to do the work that's establishing a great foundation. And where I started to go was, I love messaging because the same work it takes for you to truly sit down and define your business, right? You know, folks who help people get off the ground in their business, they help them develop a business plan. You got to sit down and be intentional about your vision and your mission and where you want to accomplish and your goals and who you're talking to, your target audience, and what markets you're going to serve, and what products and services you're bringing to the market, what solution that you offer, what problem are you solving. You got to be so intentional about that. How much are your products and services? What are your value you're bringing? Where are you going to price yourself? Who are you messaging to? Is it high ticket? Is it low ticket? Is it this? Is it that? All those considerations that it takes to build a solid business. It's the same considerations, very similar, to build a solid message that actually monetizes in the marketplace. It's the sweet spot. Many people come to me, they have no clue what they want to do in their business, but when we sit down and we get that message right, that they can stand and show up, the market will tell them what the business. It is so funny. As they walk their message, the market uncovers the opportunity. As the market uncovers the opportunity, their message begins to reverberate in the marketplace. That's what I mean, launch out loud. Loud means you're actually being heard. So with that, let me go ahead. I know I said that like 3 or 4 times, but let's go ahead and talk about why they can't hear you. Again, I'm going to reiterate some of the things that I already said, but I'm going to be very intentional to let you know why they're not hearing it. One, you didn't stop to get the basics and the foundations in place. You did not stop to get the basics and the foundation in place, okay? Your message is not clear about your vision, your mission, or your values. You don't know that. You think you know because it's in your head. And that's the number one culprit for people who cannot articulate themselves and their business, because they haven't stopped to take it out of their head and get it onto paper. It makes sense. Everything makes sense in your head. The problem is you're not talking to yourself, and you're certainly not talking to yourself within yourself. As a business owner, you're selling your services and your products to somebody else that is not in your mind. They cannot read your mind to say, I'm going to give this person the benefit of the doubt that they are the expert to fix my problem, and I'm going to throw all my money at them because I have no reason to think why. They're going to be like, I don't know what they do. I don't know why I should buy from them. Therefore, I'm going to the next option. That's what they're actually saying. So if you don't take the time to literally get all of that out of your mind and onto paper in a way that makes sense to you, that way you can begin to message it to someone that's not you. You can begin to take all of that in your head, because the problem is because you're so amazing at what you do. And I believe that people are just really good at what they're really good at. That's not your problem. Your problem is you can't tell anybody how good you are. And because your messaging is off, you either sound like you start using words that nobody else knows because you're the expert in that thing. And you sound like you're talking to somebody else that does that thing when when your audience doesn't know anything about that. And you really need to be speaking in the language of your audience. Now, again, the $1 million question is, how do I know my audience? How do I know my audience? I'm going to let you in on it. There is no secret behind this. I know marketers and folks, my colleagues will make you think that there's some kind of hidden secret, hidden knowledge. The real answer is, and this is very unscientific, you do make it up. There is an extent to where you just kind of make it up, but it's not willy-nilly throwing spaghetti on the wall to develop your audience, to develop your target audience. There is a strategy for doing that, but because you are the expert in what you are doing, because you are experienced and seasoned in what you are doing, you have a very good idea as to who you should be designing your product and service to, what your vision and your goals are. You need to know where you're going, so you could develop a strategy that's going to actually get you there, right? As you walk it out and you implement it, it's the road to accomplishing the goal, and you're not working against yourself. That's why your goals matter. I love how people are so overly enthusiastic about your why and about their own why. Let me let you in on this too. Your why, nobody cares about your why but you. And that's the way it's engineered. Your why matters to you because you need a reason to keep going. Your why doesn't matter to me as the consumer. I don't care what your why is. I care what my why is. Do you see that? So many people have bought into know your why, connect with your why, let people know your why. That is important. I'm not saying you're not going to do that. But what I'm saying is, when your goal is sales and increasing your audience for buyers and customers, your main goal is not to get your why out there. Your main goal is to communicate what's in it for your customer, what's in it for your target audience. Your main goal is to demonstrate that you understand their problem, their issue, the predicament that they are in, and that you have developed a product or service that addresses it. It takes away that pain, or it increases their pleasure. This is things that you've heard before. But I want you to get, I'm taking the time to make the connection so that as someone who's starting brand new, you begin to have a better understanding, not just of sound bites that you hear in the marketplace from my colleagues, yes, but I also want you to be able to get a better understanding of what is expected from you, because sometimes we're under the guise that if we jump into this program that says that it promises to do X, Y, and Z, that we're going to get that end result either when we blink or when we breathe it in by way of some sort of osmosis process. It's not how it works. You've got to do the work involved. So what does the work look like? I'm telling you, the work looks like clearly identifying what your goals are, your solution, your mission, what your expertise is, what your experience is, what you actually want to do, right? So that you don't engineer a business that you don't want to be in because the market is dictating it and they're just pulling you along. That's not the case either. You shouldn't fall for that. Yes, the market tells you what you should be putting out, but you should never follow the market to a place that you don't want to be, because then you're just going to be a miserable business owner. I'm telling you, I've had clients who are bakers, love baking, and somewhere along the line, they've allowed the social media shiny object syndrome to squirrel them, and they are now social media strategists for bakers. And they're like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, well, how'd you even get here? And they just said this is how it evolved. I'm like, yeah, but you can't, why are you following someone else's breadcrumbs when that's not what you wanted to do? So now you hate it. You're making a little bit of money, but then you're like, it's not worth it. That's not why we started our business. Now, there's a real simple, easy fix for that, because clearly you have something that, and we were able to fix that problem. I was able to not only just free her, but we fixed that in a way that was just beautiful. But if you don't know, my whole point is, if you don't know better, you will follow the breadcrumbs until you're not even, these breadcrumbs, you're so far deep into the forest, you don't even trust the breadcrumbs to lead you home, because you just you don't even know how you got here. So it's very important that you clarify, you get to the bottom of these basics, clarify your mission, your vision. What do you value? What are you bringing into the marketplace? Why are you bringing it to the marketplace? You want to be able to strategize around how to accomplish those things. What are you going to do in the marketplace to get you to that end goal? How are you going to do it? You don't have to launch a course if you don't want to do a course. You certainly don't have to go on live stream if you don't. And please, you don't have to listen to everybody else and say you got to show up on social media 10 times a minute to build this ridiculous, amazing brand when you don't even want to. That's not what you want to do. It's an okie doke out there. A lot of people are just kind of talking. They're not even able to clarify a strategy that is very customized and specific, not only just to you, but to your industry. Does it make sense what you're doing? Not only does it make sense what you're doing, but are you filling a gap that your competitors are leaving? Is there money on the table that your competitors are leaving on the table that you can just easily come in and, or are you just copying because it looks like they're successful? Listen, I'm giving you some good jewels right about now. It'll save you some time. So you need to align, you need to have messaging that clearly describes your overall vision for your goal. And you want to have messages that align with those goals. Why do I say that? I've had customers that are so passionate about what they are doing in their business that they would do it for free. And if they never got paid, I always tell my clients, I say, I need you to stop that. I need you to stop that. I need you to be honest with yourself. And if you can't be honest with yourself, I need you to be honest with me. Do you want to make the bag or not? I don't want to hear about passion and all of that. That has its place. But here's the thing. I always tell my client, you never had to register a business to be able to do your passion for free. You never had to go to the Secretary of your state, go to the bank and open a business bank account. You never had to create a separate entity on its own when you're going to starve it by not treating it as a business. You could have done your passion for free. Plenty of people do that. So don't tell me you started a business so that you can give it all away for free. That is detrimental. And I do not allow my clients to sit there. I don't allow them to be comfortable with that logic. Nah, one bit. My goal is to help you become a business owner, to get money into your business so your business is healthy and thriving, okay? To get customers into your business so that your business is healthy and thriving, so that you can stay around for the long term. And it's not the individual who started, but the business that was started, because it's supposed to transcend you. It's supposed to live beyond you. And if that's not your goal, cool. But this is why it's important to align to your goal, so that if you're not thinking about doing anything that supersedes you, so that when you're 6 feet in the ground, the company stops, then we understand what strategy we need to put into place, because it all stops and ends with you. So then if that's the case, I need to manage your expectation better. So when you don't want to post on social media, or you don't want to show up on live, or you don't want to, open your mouth and ask for the sale, I can remind you, hey, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Because you said you wanted this business you don't want something that you can build outside of you. You wanted something that's going to reflect you. So now I got to snatch you back up and say, hey, this is what you said you wanted. So now let's get a strategy that's in line with that, but you got to be ready to do the work because nobody else can do it for you. You are the front line. Now, the reality is when you just start a business, you are always the front line. If no one else is going to champion that cause more than you, but you don't stay there. When you know that you're building something that supersedes you, that goes beyond you, you don't stay in that. You don't fall prey to have your hands in everything. You gotta get out of it. And that's a conversation I have to have many times with a lot of founders. Stay in your lane. Get your hands out somebody else's pockets, right? It is your baby, it's your company, but no, that's not what you have to do. But I digress. We got to make sure that things are aligned with your goals. You have to do the internal foundational work first before you begin to even go out. That's why Launch Out Loud is 6 weeks. Okay, 6 weeks, and we get that stuff in place. The next reason why your buyers aren't hearing you is because they don't even know you're talking to them. And I gave you a really good setup and example as to how to find the people or why it's important to find the people. You don't want to be sitting out on the sidewalk in Times Square, even though there are millions of people out there. There's a ton of people out there. There's no guarantee that they're even interested in what you have. They don't know you're talking to them. Even if you had a bullhorn. You ever notice when you're in a party and it could be a loud party, but if somebody says your name, you perk up, your ears is like, I know I heard somebody say my name. I know I heard somebody call my name. And then you begin to look around the room to see who could have possibly done it. And then your eyes connect with somebody way across the room and familiarity begins to register and you start to gravitate towards each other, right? That's what you want to happen. You want to be able to speak the language of your target audience so clearly that they begin to perk up. They may not know you very well. They may not know exactly too much about you, especially those of you who are just starting in business. It is okay. But when your messaging is right and your strategy is right, you don't stay as somebody that's unknown for very long. I'm not saying you're going to be an overnight success and get 1 million gajillion followers on social. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying once you take your message outwards to social media, then people can begin to recognize their need for you quickly because you're not wasting your time posting about, posting memes and quotes that don't say nothing about what you're offering, nothing about what you're doing. There's a strategy and art to messaging to bring in buyers. So you're not wasting your time on some of these random posts because you're trying to hit a 5 posts per day metric, but you're actually spending time posting quality that is valuable so that someone can respond in a way that is favorable to not just your business, but for them to get their problem solved, to address the issue that brought them and that had them gravitate towards you. It's very critical that y'all understand that. And as a communication professional for the last almost 20 years, let me remind you, some of you may know, some of you may not, the onus and the burden of clear communication is on the sender. It is not the receiver's responsibility to understand the communication. It's not the person listening. It's not their responsibility to decipher and decode your message. It's your responsibility to speak so clearly that they understand and that you check to make sure that they understand. What does that look like in business? Okay. It's definitely not speaking in jargon. It's definitely keeping it very simple, the language clear. It's definitely being very straightforward as to what it is that you're doing. Like, I can't tell you how many people like to be so cute and clever in their messaging. It's like, nobody's going to know what you're talking about. I know it sounds cute and I know it's clever and I know you like it, but you don't know if your market even understands that. So stop it. one of the things that I think it's interesting is I've had many clients in the past come to me with their brand already solidified. They love their colors. It's their favorite color, or it's the favorite color of their favorite influencer. They just kind of adopted that color palette. They're so highly branded. But they have no clue who they're talking to and they're messaging to. And I'm like, you did all of this work based off of an audience of one, and you're not the one that you're selling to. You may be the one that is your ideal customer because of what you've gone through, but the people who are coming to you that relates to your walk, that relates to your journey, that relates to your experience, you may meet them at a whole different place. You may meet them and they school you as to really what's the goal. You still can help them, but now you have taken on this persona. You've done all these things that are so, you don't know if it's palatable to them, if it repels them, or if it resonates with them. You don't have no clue. I never tell my clients in the beginning, if you're new in the beginning, let me save you thousands of dollars. Let me save you the trouble of doing all the most with the money and, getting the most expensive website. Again, I've done websites for almost 18 years or over 18 years. Stop paying these web designers and graphic designers all this money to brand you when your people don't even know you. Nobody's looking for a heavily branded person up front. I'm telling you right now, this is experience talking. I know everybody looks so polished online. I know everybody looks so amazing on their website, is so snazzy, and you just need to feel the part. I know all of that. What you need is the bare minimum getting started. You need a place that they can find you online. You need a place that they can pay you online. You got those two things, you are doing well. It needs to be clean. It needs to be professional. And that's pretty much it. There is not a smartphone that we've seen hit the market in the last 10 years that can't take some clean, clear pictures of you. You don't need all of that stuff starting out. But what you do need is a clear picture of who you're talking to, who you want to bring into your business, and what do they need from you. And on that very simple website, you need to be able to say that. You don't need to distract them with music. You don't need to distract them with pop-ups. You damn sure don't need all the words sliding all over the place. I know some of y'all I know if you got all this stuff going on your website, I'm telling you right now, that is just a nightmare for usability, and nobody cares about that stuff. It doesn't do anything. Think about when you're scanning a website. Do you like all that stuff moving all over the place? Do you like to hear, like if your speaker is up and you go to a website and things start blaring and it scares you to death? Do you like that? No, you don't. You can't even stop to find the volume button to slide it down. The easiest thing to do is to just close the window. And maybe you may or may not go back. Some things that is happening on these websites is just it's an atrocity. It's an atrocity. And I'm here to tell you the truth, so that if you're working with someone in developing your website, if you ignore my advice to go simple in the beginning and you want to, be well branded, that's fine. But now you have some things to talk about from a user and usability standpoint, something that makes sense for the people who are coming, not because you like it or you saw it someplace. Sometimes people who've been doing this for a while, who have a larger audience, they get away with a lot. You wanna know why? Because their name precedes them. Their name, the people when someone goes to their website, they already intend to buy. As someone just starting, you don't have that luxury. They're getting to know you. They're getting to trust you. And all these things are a distraction. It's in the way. I'm telling you the truth because I know. I'm telling you the truth. I still do websites. I don't promote my websites. I get websites by referral only. There's still listen to what I'm saying. My websites, I don't talk about the fact that I do websites. My web business is still going and thriving because of word of mouth referrals, not social media, not posting 10 times a day, and not looking amazing. Because my little website, look at Berkshire Hathaway's website. It ain't nothing but a white page with some text on it. You don't need all of that stuff. You want all of that stuff because we're trying to compensate. And I say we because I remember being there. You want to compensate for something that you feel like you don't have. You don't need it. I'm telling you the truth. I hope this helps somebody and frees you from trying to find the money and stretching so far. You need to be able to earn the money in your business. Then you can pay for your upgrade. Pay for your upgrade with the money that you bring into your business, right? Anyway, let me keep going. Like I said, it's real late and I've been on here almost an hour already. So yeah, you want to be able to talk to a specific audience, and your messaging will do that. Your messaging will do it better than any visual graphics, than any visual branding will do. The reason why the visual graphics, they're important, but they are not the meat and potatoes. Your message needs to be so strong that your people can hear you, that they can tell you what you said, that when they walk away from you, they remember it. That's what they mean, resonates. And that most of all, that they engage with you, that they talk back. When your message is hitting, people talk back to you. They begin to ask you questions. They begin to comment on your posts. They begin to do, I'm telling you, when your message is hitting, they begin to give you information to which you can then use to strengthen your messaging. And when you go out and say, hey, I heard your issues, your challenge, and here's what's coming up, they respond. They respond. So it's very intentional that you get to know your audience. So, and I was telling you, there's no secret to this, nothing hidden. You make it up in the beginning, but it's not just willy-nilly making it up. It is based on some factual information that you, the expert, you, the person in the market serving this industry, that you do know about them, and it's crafted and put together in such a way that now you know who you're talking to, that is your focus, and you can speak into the marketplace so that those people, like I said, when you're in a crowded party, you're going, everybody's having a good old time, and then all of a sudden you hear like somebody call your name, you're looking around like, I know I heard my name. That's what you want them to do online. I know I heard somebody talking to me. So now they're looking and they're scanning the marketplace. They're scanning the marketplace now because they heard somebody talking to them. And then their eyes connect with you. Their eyes connect with your lead magnet. Their eyes connect with your website. Their eyes connect with your blog. Their eyes and ears connect with your podcast. They connect with you on social media. Now they're gravitating towards you because there's a familiarity. Not that they know you yet, but you know their problem so well that they are now saying, this sounds like a solution. They're gravitating towards you. Now you can get close enough so that even if it's a loud party, everybody's happy, lights strobing, everything going, you're close enough that you can hear each other speak. When you're talking, you can engage in a dialogue and a conversation. I use those visuals because we all have had those experiences before, and I want to make it stick for you. So that's how your target audience should respond to you, especially in this very virtual world that we're living in, right? It's important that they know you're talking to them and that they have an opportunity to respond to you. Another thing, I need your messaging to be unique. I need it to be differentiated from your competition. I need you, some of y'all be like, oh, I don't have any competition. I stand on my own, but then you sound like everybody else. So yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Those are your competition because you don't stand out. There's nothing unique about you. Your ideas are not unique. The things you say are not unique. They have no basis on which to think of you in your own lane because you sound like everybody else. You look like everybody else. You're doing what everyone else is doing. Oh my goodness. It is just unbelievable. And the reason why you do that is because you're not confident in doing something that goes against the grain, or you haven't done your research on the other people in the industry. So you have no clue where the gaps are in their service so you can fill it. Or you think, this is the worst one, you think that someone is so successful at what they're doing that you have to just follow their pattern. That's dangerous right there. That's dangerous. I used to do that. And the problem is I was patterning my business off of somebody that was so far removed because they were the big behemoth in the industry. They were the person that everyone was going to. So I was like, I want to look like the best. I want to do what the best is doing. But I just begin to look like a cheaper version of the best. I didn't stand out. I didn't look different. I didn't speak different. I didn't sound different. And, you know, it didn't work out for me. I mean, of course I got sales. Like I said, I've been doing this stuff online since about 2014. I found my legs in 2016. I've been rolling since. But the people that I was bringing in, a lot of times it really wasn't for me. I'm gonna let you in on this. The first time I did Launch Out Loud, I will never forget it because it was miserable. It was 6 weeks of misery for me. It was 6 weeks of misery. And it's not because I didn't love what I was doing. I love messaging, I love strategy, and I love monetization. I love helping people get that aha, and I love hearing people feel confident when they get out online. It wasn't any of that. My messaging was so all over the place when I first started doing this, because I had no clue about marketing in the online space. I just knew what I knew. And because I was trying to sound like the bigger person that was already there, they've been doing this for a while. And the reality is they try to broad stroke, right? They broad stroke their products and services. That does not work when you're just starting out. I highly recommend, and that's the strategy for you all starting new, is to be very clear and precise in what it is that you're offering. That's going to save you headache in the long run. I told you my first run at Launch Out Loud was painful. And I enrolled at $497. Now remember, I've been doing this course for a while, and I told y'all that I'm doing this beta at $97 because of the fact that I've shifted and changed and I'm using new software. And I want to get y'all in so I can get this information going, because I'm launching this at the end of the year. So this is why I'm priced it that way. But when I launched it the first time, my beta was at $497. It was $297 for the 6 weeks, and then the one-to-one was $497. And I got 6 people enrolled in there, which is great for your first online. It was my first online course. It was the first time I had launched anything. I was so excited. The problem is my messaging was so much aligned with the bigger people in my field, in my industry, that were doing what I was doing. I stretched myself too thin. What do I mean? One person that was in there, and this is still about messaging, and it's still about getting your business brand, together, and your product offering. One person was in business 20 years, never had a website. They were just, a brick and mortar, and they wanted to start taking advantage of online space. Another person was, I have an idea for a business. I don't have a business in place, and I would like your help, because one of the things that they said that they really liked was step by step. And I told them I would walk them step by step. And it's exactly what we did. Another person was, I have an online course, nobody's buying, and I need to be able to tighten up my messaging, and I thought you could help. Another person was, I have no idea what I want to do. I don't know. I just know, that I need to do something on the side, and Launch Out Loud sounds like something that can help me. And then I had 2 other individuals who were one was similar to, I have an idea. The other one was similar to, I've been doing this for a while, but a while was like less than a year. So they still had a lot of lessons to learn. So it was a mix of people. I was miserable because the information was good, but everyone was at a very different place in their business journey. And so at the time, I had to pivot and do the one-to-one every week for those who had upgraded instead of every 2 weeks. What I learned was people have challenges implementing. And so we would go week to week, and the weeks were very short. I'm like, dang, the weeks are very short. And it was literally customized strategy I was giving everybody, because they were at such a very different place in their business. Now that may happen, but when you're very clear on your message, it doesn't matter where people are in the business. They are in this course for a very specific end result. So even if they're new, or if they're seasoned, not online, or whatever the case may be, the end result that you're giving them is the same journey they're on. I didn't understand that. I didn't know that. That was something that I had to learn. And like I said, it was miserable for me because I did over and above. I went beyond the 6 weeks. I wanted to serve, but it was the fact that there were so many different facets. I felt like it was, I don't know if y'all have ever watched Shark Tank, one of my favorite shows. And one of the things they would always say to newer companies is you have too many SKUs. And you need to tighten up your product offering so that you can maximize. I had too many SKUs, meaning I had too many different avatars in the one course. Now, somebody who's well established, they have a team, they have infrastructure built out, they have a pathway for those people that they can shuffle them in. They're already well seasoned beyond that. I didn't have that. So it was just me wearing myself thin, trying to make sure that I served them, because it wasn't their fault. My messaging was faulty, but I served everybody. And oh, by the way, I was still in my 9-to-5 job. So, I mean, it was a grueling 6 weeks for me. I learned a valuable lesson that I need to be so clear about my messaging. And who I built in, I need to make sure they understood what they were getting, because, the one who was brick and mortar thought they were going to be able to, get their website up and running and da. And of course, they did. I gave them that. That was not a part of the original course, but I was able to, they paid extra for the website and I was able to get them up and running on a website. They got an entire launch strategy. I mean, complete with all kinds of stuff so they can have an amazing launch online and revitalize. They got a brand strategy out the wazoo. This company was amazing. Like they were, I mean, if I probably should do a case study on it one day. It was a jewel for any brand strategist to have found. It was so amazing. The things that they implemented, they did. The sales went out the roof. I was so excited. But that had nothing to do with Launch Out Loud. I mean, come on. Let me be real. Even though it was a great experience and I had great testimonials and the products, I was able to demonstrate the versatility of me as a strategist. Boy, I was off. I was so off. That's what you run the risk of doing when your messaging is all over the place. That's why your messaging needs to be tight. So you can get the end result that you think you're giving and that the people are buying. Very important. Okay. And then the reason why I'm talking about separating yourself from the competition is, listen, everybody's going to tell you no, like, and trust, no, like, and trust, no, like, and trust. I slay that soundbite too. Knowing you and trusting you is extremely important. I don't care very much about the like. I think the like is fleeting, right? Like they say beauty is fleeting. Likes are fleeting. They like you today, they don't like you tomorrow. Then next week, they'll probably can stand you. And yeah, they'll like you again down the line. But they definitely need to know you and they need to trust you. How do you do that? Differentiate yourself from the marketplace. When you look at my bio here on Clubhouse, the first line of my bio is your perspective is your differentiator. Your perspective and how you see the world, how you see that problem, how you solve that problem, that is what differentiates you in the marketplace. I tell my clients all the time, be careful of how often you observe your competition, the other options in the marketplace, because you don't want to be unintentionally absorb yourself in them. You always want to be able to set yourself apart differently. And the way you're going to do it is to be so grounded in how you see this thing. You've got thoughts. Don't tell me that you're starting a business as an expert, as experienced, as skilled, whatever it is that you're doing for umpteenth years, and you don't have a very clear perspective of how you see this problem, how you see what you're doing and what you're bringing into the marketplace. It's your responsibility to talk about what you see and how you see it. Now, it's your responsibility to frame that narrative in a way that matters to your end user and your potential customers and the ones who are buying. But we've got to get out of that shell about, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. These other people sound like they know more than me and blah, 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 blah. We get out of that. your perspective is what's going to differentiate you in the marketplace, not your logo, not your colors, not your visual branding at all. It is your perspective and what you say and bring to the marketplace. I want you to remember that. If nothing else you remember, it is what is already inside you that's not anywhere else found in the marketplace that's going to differentiate you. And what you need to do is get with someone like me or me, right, to be able to pull out that message and ensure that it is magnetic to the end result, to the end user that wants that specific result. But your perspective is what's going to differentiate you in the marketplace. So never think that you have to sound like anyone else. Please don't think you have to sound or look like anyone else. And the reality is when you try to look like somebody else, you're doing that because you want, it's not all the time that you want to look like them, but you're just trying to get the results that they've gotten in business. I challenge you to believe that the results you're going to get is way better and way more than what you would get if you just kind of patterned off of someone else's image, someone else's sound, someone else's, what they bring to the marketplace, right? I'll leave that right there. Two more things that I want to cover. Your message needs to connect with the audience in a language that they will understand. And I think this is very important about your brand and about your perspective. This is how you begin to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. I use language as a differentiator as well. You use the personality of your brand as a differentiator as well. Many people out there in the space that I do, messaging, storytelling, brand strategy, business strategy, messaging strategy, all of that. Plenty of people do what I do. But their sound is not my sound. Now, I like to give the example of, I don't know how many of you all have been in the online space for a while, but there was a period where everybody was a badass. And I'm just like, it was such a turnoff to me. I'm definitely not their ideal customer, and I'm not their avatar. But everybody was a badass, showing up in leather and, hot pink, black and white, these females, and, they're just, and I'm just like, my gosh, and everybody wants to curse in their books and in their lead magnet and on their website. And I'm like, what's all of that about? Now, maybe that makes sense to the person that they're marketing to, but it doesn't make sense to me, and they're not marketing to me. I want to give you that perspective because I want you to know that you're not targeting everyone and you're not speaking into everyone, and everyone is not going to resound with your voice. It's not meant to be there. I'm attracted to a voice that's a little bit more corporate. I'm attracted to a voice that's a little bit more traditionally professional. Why? Because my business is targeting those audiences, business to business. My consulting firm, the ideal customer for my consulting firm are small and medium tiered businesses, medium to large businesses, public and private. I'm going for government institutions, state, local, and federal government. I'm going out for contracts that are from ministries of health across the globe. I am not going to be sitting there talking about y'all are badasses. That's not my brand at all. So when the people who are talking to me, their sound resonates with me. The language that they use resonates with me. So when I hear about the marketing, I move and gravitate towards return on investment. I'm not the person that's going to gravitate to, charge your worth. I'm the one that's going to take a knife and cut that thing up, because I can't stand when I hear people say charge your worth, when I hear people say level up, when I hear people say all these things that are really empty language and empty words. I'm looking for the person that's going to tell me exactly what they are going to do for me and exactly what I'm going to get, so I know what I'm buying. There's a lot of people who do not meet that. So it's easy for me to pass on a lot of people out there because it's empty words. There's nothing concrete to say I'm going to walk away with. It's just fluff in my eyes. So certain things will never work on me, like these FOMO counters. I'll pass on it all day long. There's no fear of missing out here. I want you to see what's in the mind of this consumer, because we're all consumers. Even though we're business owners, we're all consumers. So when you understand the dynamics of what's happening in my mind as to how I choose, I want you to realize that there is a similar process happening with you. Maybe you're zoned into it, or maybe you're not completely zoned into it with an intentionality, and you don't notice what's happening, but there's a process going on in your mind. You need to be so clear about your target audience that your language is speaking to them, your nuances, the words that you choose, the clothes that you wear on social, the pictures that you post, the things that are supportive of your brand, not the things that you think is defining your brand, but they supplement and support your brand. Those visual things, those audible things. I don't use profanity in my brand. So, I'm not that one. I'm just like, surely I think that adults should be able to articulate themselves in a way that they don't need to lean back on curse words, unless they're trying to convey some sort of emotion. I get that one. But when it just doesn't stick, it doesn't matter. I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm not for you. Let me just keep on moving. That's me. And there's a picture of that in every case. So you may be someone who's targeting moms. I have 3 children. I have a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 9-year-old. I check the box as a mom. But your messaging should dive deeper and speak different. I have another client who targets moms, and I think the tagline is so, amazingly precise. Streamlining your success in 30 minutes or less. I love that when she says that. It's so clear. And everything she does lines up to that, because moms are busy. Moms don't have time. And I'm just like, wow, can I get this information in 30 minutes or less? Can you give me a tip to take action? And it only takes 30 minutes or less. Maybe I could find 30 minutes or less and get away from, all the hustle and bustle that's going on in my house to actually figure out what I'm doing. It's very important. Efficiency and productivity. Now, she never made the guarantee of efficiency and productivity, but as a mom, if I can get something done in 30 minutes or less, I'm productive and I'm efficient, regardless of what it looked like. I don't know what it's going to look like, the process itself, but boy, if I can check something off that list, oh yeah. But her language also continues to reinforce, to make me further know that she's talking to me. And I think it's very important that that's a definitive, intentional, and conscious decision that's made, so that you will consistently show up in that manner, so that your target audience knows that you're talking to them, and that you're continuing to serve them, and that you're continuing to create a space where they can feel comfortable. It's very intentional. So it's just not talking for the sake of talking. It's just not, let me see what happens if I do X, Y, and Z. No, that's not what it is. Don't do that. And then the last thing I want to mention is that your messaging, and also your business strategy, your overarching strategy, it includes a mix of proven actions that can convert. Like, you're not just doing something for the sake of doing something. You're actually doing something that will convert, that will get you some sales, that will get you some attention, that will increase your digital capital, your social capital, your financial capital, right? That's what we want to do. So your messaging should be able to incorporate strategies that are proven to secure the sale, to secure and move forward the relationship, to take them from a cold lead to a loyal customer, so that journey, that customer journey where you're moving them through your offerings, service offerings, it is constantly reinforcing the relationship and the reason why they remain with you for a longer period of time. You get to maximize the relationship from a monetary standpoint. And also, again, I told you I still do websites, but it's only through word of mouth referrals. And that's what you want. You want them to bring people to the table as well. So I never have to get on social media and market it, because somebody sees my work somewhere and they ask a question, hey, who did your website? And the person said, hey, here's the number. They call me, they make the connection, and I start working with that next person. That's how it works for me. It's always been, that's been to my detriment, but that's also a blessing for me. So you want to be able to have messaging that really appeals, that one includes a mix of strategies that are proven, but two appeals to the different vehicles, right? That stand on the different vehicles, whether it's online, offline, it's social media, whether you're building out your own community so that and I absolutely think everyone should be building out their own community where you're able to serve your people in a way that makes sense for them, and in a way that they're focused not on the larger noise of wherever you're showing up, but you're able to manage the volume, manage the distractions. I think it's important, it's key, and there's a strategy for that. But anyway, those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about. This has gone on, this is about an hour and 25 minutes now. So it went on a little bit longer than I thought I would be on, but I just hope that from something that I've shared, that you have a perspective as to why your buyers are not hearing you, they're not finding you, they're not seeing you, they're not buying from you, but also to highlight the importance of why you need to make the commitment to work on your messaging, why you need to make the commitment to take the time to go back to the basics and build on a stronger foundation, that we're just not, willy-nilly saying, hey, let me try this and let me do this, and this next thing is supposed to be great. And now, now the flavor of the day is reels, and everybody's doing that. At one point when Clubhouse came out, it was all about audio. And then, it's you will never be at a loss for be able to do Okay, Clubhouse, you're the only one that's here. So Wisdom kind of stopped itself. And so did Zoom. YouTube are you still there, YouTube? Okay, it looks like it's still live. So I'll go ahead and share that my Launch Out Loud, the 3M Masterclass is coming up on November 11th. So you want to go ahead and get in that. It is $97. However, before you make the decision to join the masterclass, know that my Launch Out Loud beta is going to also, we're going to kick that off. We're kicking that off at the end of November to get you in place for getting your stuff together into the new year, so that you have your products, the service, everything you need. That beta is $97. Okay, so we're going to take care of your message in that beta. We're going to take care of your monetization, your offer, all of that. So it would behoove you to take me up on the $97 beta. So that one is bit.ly/LOL beta 22, bit.ly/LOL beta 22. And you also have the option to upgrade, where the upgrade comes with one-on-one strategy every other week. And the reason why it's important that it's every other week, I explained that, the first time I did this, it was, we did every week, and boy, that was taxing. The second time I launched it, I continued to do every week, and it further reinforced that every week is not the right strategy. And then the third time I did it every other week. And what I found out and learned during that cohort was 1 week of information. We met for the one-on-one, 1 week of implementation, right? And then we met again that third week to sit and review what was done and then plan for the next week. They implemented that next week, and then we met again. So it was that's where I said, oh yeah, 2 weeks, that's good. Every 2 weeks. So that's what that comes with. So my eyeballs on what you're working on, what you're doing, you get the accountability. And so go to bit.ly/launch out loud beta 22 to get that information, and to join that beta. Or if you really just want the masterclass, definitely join me on the masterclass. When you join the beta, you get the masterclass for free. So you'll already be in the beta. So when you hear me marketing the beta on the masterclass, you will understand how much you have benefited from getting in the beta now. So I'm excited about that. With that being said, I think that's it. I'm not doing questions, not doing anything like that, because it is extremely late. So with that, I will talk to you all later. Y'all have an amazing day. Be blessed. And listen, we got to get this bag. Okay, we got to get this bag. All right. Bye. I hope the YouTube video worked itself out. Bye, y'all.